if we should go to how do we work with trauma, we have already touched upon it, but are there any, if you should, you had this in your own personal life, you had, you had a transition to a new understanding of how to work with subpersonalities.
Mhm.
And you mentioned the book. I've never read the book, The Body Keeps the Score, but I know it is very often referred to.
Mhm.
So, if you should say something about how you work with trauma, what are your core understanding of how to approach it?
Uh, Something is needed to work with trauma, and that's what we call dual awareness. And it means that you are able to have one foot in the here and now, and the other foot in the back then and there.
Yeah.
So the trauma has to be engaged emotionally, and you have to feel some of the trauma and open up to being in contact with it. And also you have to be rooted in yourself in a way that you can relate to what is coming up.
Mm.
And so this is the challenge every modality of trauma work is trying to solve.
Mm.
How can I support dual awareness while the awareness is coming closer and closer to something that used to overwhelm it?
Mm. Exactly.
Yes.
I would just, for the viewers that follow me and that are often very acquainted with psychosynthesis, this is what we call to work from the observer, work from the conscious eye, and the work is pretty much about to stabilizing our ability to be a loving observer to what emerges
Mhm.
in the present here and now. And this developing of this loving observer creates an inner space where we can be with whatever emerges, and especially if we have the help from a good therapist or person who is able to also stay present. So,
Yes.
and it seems to be very similar because it creates this dual awareness. You have one foot in your here and now, where you are relating to all the information that starts coming into the field of consciousness,
Yes.
and still you have another part of your awareness into all these new layers of suffering.
Yes.
Is that the same understanding you have?
Yes.
Good.
And so there are two ways of facilitating this I could think of. The
Mm.
one is continuously to engage the observer and strengthen the person in grounding and centering and clarity and relating to what is coming up. So we are having a ping pong
Mm.
between I don't call it the observer, because then it's something out there.
Mm.
So I call it you. The-
Mm.
so I address it like you, the self, you as a person, you
Mm.
are you are relating back and forth with the part
Mm.
that's carrying the trauma. But it is the observer. There's somebody here who's
Yeah.
and
Yeah, because I say you, the observer.
yeah,
Uh,
that's the same. It's the same.
mm.
But and this is one of the things I can we can together in our dialogue create this dialogue and strengthen the you who are relating to what is coming up. And
Mm.
so this is one part of the work. Another part of the work is when the trauma, the overwhelmed part, used to overwhelm and put aside the observer totally.
Yeah.
So it contains too much, too fast, too unbearable.
Mm.
Then the observer is killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't want that to happen.
No.
And so we can try to to have like a taxation of the suffering. We can, in a way, uh, like having a small peek hole into what happened, instead of having it all coming at once, like
Mm,
in small packages, one bite at a time. And that is the way to digest something that is too big.
exactly.
My son used to be interested in Guinness Records book, and I remember reading this with him, where he was reading. There was a man, and he ate a small airplane, and how did he do that? He grinded it and took a little spoon every day, and after I don't know how many years, he ate the whole plane.
It's insane. Oh,
It's a funny story, but
yeah, very funny.
it's like the way we can digest a traumatic experience is one little package at the time. So
Yeah.
we take it in small portions,
Mm,
and many different therapeutic modalities try to do this in different ways.
mm,
One of them is called eye movement desensibilization reprocessing,
mm,
and like engaging the traumatic memory, helping the person sit with the activation in the body, and then you're moving your fingers in front of the eyes, and the person is following your fingers with the eyes, like this.
mm,
And this is like distracting a bit. It takes away your awareness a bit. It's like taxating your awareness, but that's really smart, because
mm,
then you are actually able to be with something for an hour that you are otherwise only allowed to be with for 3 seconds.
mm,
So if you can look, feel, relate to all the impressions and all the stuff going on for an hour, a bit of the time, then
mm,
suddenly fragments of sensations and feelings and meaning makings and body sensations are being put together, and suddenly it becomes like a picture, or like a movie with a beginning and an end,
mm,
and suddenly it's all being put together, and then the person experientially have the feeling of, now it's getting behind me.
mm,
They will like have this, okay, now it's gone, and sometimes they would say, what happened to it? And it's funny now, it feels like it's back there somewhere.
mm,
And so it has suddenly been put into order in time and space, and
mm.
now it's in explicit memory. Now it's back there, something that once happened, and now I'm
Would you call it then that it's integrated? That's a big word in psychosynthesis. We integrate the exiles into a new functioning personality.
yes.
Would you call it integrated when you have went through it and it's in the back?
Yes, I think integrated is a very precise word. Also, neurologically and in any way, in every sense, integrated would be a good word for that.
Hmm. Yeah, and one of the techniques that I have used a lot in my own life, but also on client, is creative painting, or just drawing the sensations out. And I have discovered that many times I'm not able to put the right word. It's like the mental has not the ability to access
Mm.
the pain. But if I stop my mind and just take out different colors of crayons and start drawing on a white paper, and then I turn, you can say, an unconscious subject and turning it into an object. And then I can start engaging with the colors.
Yeah.
What is the black? The black is, there's something hate here, or there's something related to death, and then it's my own interpretation. There's no rule as
Mm.
to what a color is meant to be. It's very individual, but it helps me to, in some way, the drawing becomes a container for the energy,
Yeah.
and so it's some kind of a intermediary before my mind is able to understand what is actually going on inside of me.
Yes.
Uh, how does that sound?
Sounds great. And also my experience, I see this as an alchemic process.
Mm.
Uh, it's like when you're in the soup, you're in prima materia. All the stuff is in you, and you are inside it, and you're not able to. It's not being crystallized,
Mm.
so you're not able to have a dialogue with it. You're just embedded in it. It's like a soup. You're swimming in this experience, and unable to relate to what is going on. And if you see it as an alchemic vessel,
Yeah.
at some point, a coagulation is happening. It means that sometimes things are being put into shape, and it's like it's taking a shape or a form or a color,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then now I can start having a dialogue with it,
Yeah.
and slowly clarity is coming. So suddenly there's clarity, and there are starting to be objects
Mm.
in the water that I'm swimming in. So
Mm.
it's becoming more and more clear, and the self, the observer, is starting to shine through this.
Mm.
And then at one point it blackens the nigreto, or the dark, the process of it. Then the suffering is starting to come out of it,
Mm.
and that's where the process is continuing.
Mm. Okay. Yes.
And we can do that in many ways, and drawing would be one of them. It because it makes it possible suddenly to have clarity. There's now me relating to what is flowing out of this dark color that I put.
Yeah.
Okay, now I can start to have a dialogue with it.
Mm. Wow, this is really fascinating.